Hey guys, welcome back. Today I will show you the best budget decks. We will also look over the loaner decks here. So the best decks that you can take to the new event starting tomorrow, Theme Chronicle, which we already had once before, or I think more than once. You can let me know in the comments if you know. To gain all the resources, basically, obviously these decks won't be that much fun and you won't be having great games since these decks won't be the best, but you can just play the event and get all the resources, which is up to here to 11,000 points to get all of the gems, basically, like they always do with these events, and then complete the missions. Quick little tip here, you could wait if until the point that they're at the bonus missions, which they normally do after around, I don't know, 7 days or something, maybe a bit earlier, I guess a bit earlier, maybe after 5 days, they will add additional missions that are worth something like, I would guess, 300 to 400 gems. So if you want to make the most out of your playtime in finishing the event and getting all the resources, wait a bit until you play the event and only play up until 11,000, since after that there are no more gems. So let's first look at the loaner decks, and then I will show you 2 additional ones that you would go ahead and play. There's a Rika loaner deck here that is actually looking kind of nice, if you ask me. So there's basically everything important in here. I'm not even sure if with budget options we will be able to build a better deck, but you will have to judge this for yourself in a second here. It's a bit strange because normally they don't give us multiples of good hand traps. We have triple Impam here, we have triple Ash Blossom, which is a very solid lineup. There is no Maxi here in this event. And then we have most of the important cards. A bit unfortunate that we only have 2 Sunseed Genius Loci, and they didn't decide to put in the Unexpected Die in here, so your best starter is a bit worse. But we have Rika Petal at 3, which is also a great starter. We have the Lone Fire Blossom, which is basically Sunseed Genius Loci, 1 Twin, which is the perfect ratio. We have 1 Primula. We don't need the Sea Claman, but we have triple Rika Princess. We have 3 Mudan, which is also fine. A hard opening Mudan is okay. And then we have Erika, which is not that great. A Snowdrop Rika, and Hellebore, which also isn't a card that you really want. And then for some reason only Therion and Liborea without the other Therion card, the Regulars, which is a bit sad since this in my opinion is the best way to have this. But we have triple Glamour, we have 2 Sowing, which is nice if you open 1, and then we have Rika Conquering at 3, which is totally fine. We have the good trap and then 2 bad traps here. But all in all, this is a very solid loaner deck. The extra deck also looks pretty nice. We have most of the important stuff in here, double Aromatherapy Jasmine. We have our end board monsters in here, nothing too strange besides the Kanzashi. So a really good loaner deck that you should be quite successful with. Only a few things that are a bit bad, but if you go first and know your Rika lines, then this will be a blast, I would assume. Then we have Auric Dragon of Judgment and Punishment, which is a Lightsworn deck, but honestly a very strange one if you ask me. A lot of cards that you would not really want to run, but it is a pure Lightsworn deck, so I don't know, maybe you do want to run it like this. We have a card destruction here, which I think is quite nice. They want to end up on the boss monster if they can. Obviously we have Curious, which is a good card, the new Minerva as well as the old Minerva, and then a few synchro monsters that you might be able to get into. Also an Extincton Knight, which is very nice in clearing the board, going second here. But other than that, this will obviously be your Unga Bunga, let's have some lucky moments deck that you can go ahead and play in the event. Definitely way worse than the Rika deck in my opinion, but still a good choice. Then again, not as strong as Rika. But you also have this Ash Blossom and Infinite Impermanence lineup, which is actually quite nice. 6 hand traps are a bit low, but this is always the same thing with the loaner decks. They give us a very low amount of hand traps, unfortunately. And yeah, you have to decide for yourself whether you would want to go for something like this. But could be fun milling your deck and seeing what you hit there, but honestly not the strongest deck. And then we have assembled Knights of the World Legacy, which we'll also talk about in the deck that you could build yourself, which is a deck that is successful in a lot of events, but a bit different here. So the World Legacy and Mech Knight stuff, playing Mech Knights with these column effects, which honestly I didn't play at the time where Mech Knights was good. Unfortunately, it looks kind of fun. We also have the new cards Gen and Ken in here, which without talents are definitely not that great. For some reason we have Unexpected Die in here. here instead of in the Rika deck. So yeah, talents would be nice because we will activate the talents, make it live with the Ken and Gen. We have triple Gersu, a very good starter for the deck. Then we have our hand trap lineup once again, and a random Dark Ruler Noma, which would definitely have been great in the Rika deck. Other than that, this looks okay-ish, but definitely in comparison, the Rika deck is by far the best loner deck that you could get. A pretty solid one at that, so if you want to go for the loner decks, I think you can definitely just pick up the Rika deck and be successful with this and gain all the gems in the events. But now let me show you two other decks that you could potentially, budget decks that is, that you could potentially take to the event when it starts tomorrow. So another solid option in my opinion would be something like Salaman Grade here. There's definitely a lot of stuff that you can mix up in here. You would need the structure deck in order to get triple Salaman Grade Sunlight Wolf and triple Salaman Grade Heat Leo. You don't need triple of them, so you could also go ahead and just play two if you only have 2 copies of the structure deck. All of these hand traps here are just super rare hand traps, Stolen Lockbird, DD Crow, besides the Infinite Impermanence that is, and the Ash Blossoms. But I filled the deck up basically with a lot of super rare hand traps. You could also go ahead and what board breakers do we have available? Also go ahead and play a few board breakers if you wanted to. If, for example, you don't have your Imperms or your Ash Blossoms, go ahead, play board breakers like the Dark Hole, which definitely makes it worse. You want to have this hand trap lineup of Ash Blossom and the Infinite Impermanence. If you have it, they are also available in the bundles, so you might already have this. Other than that, nothing too fancy here. We have this combo with the Gallant Granite being able to search the Nibiru, which is actually quite nice. You can sheath this with your Speedroid Terratop and Speedroid Taketombo combo. It's a bit sad since we can't use them total effectively like you would be able to in the normal Salaman Grade deck, because we are not playing the Synchro monsters here. Other than that, we are playing the Salaman Grade names, triple Flame Buffalo. We are playing 2 Foxies. You could play more if you wanted to. The best one, the Salaman Grade Gazelle, 3 Spinnies, then 3 Jack Jaguars, and we also have Circle at 3. We have the Silent Mining, which is also in the structure deck if you happen to buy this Salaman Grade Roar. And then we have 2 pots. You can definitely play them both. Since we have multiples in our deck, we can definitely play the Off Desires, and our extra deck we also have multiples of, so you can also play the Off Extravagance. Playing special matches here just to revive our Cybers monsters, and then you have some flex spots. You could also go ahead, put some of these here to 2, and then put in whatever you want to have in your extra deck. I think this is a solid one, being able to end up on your Salaman Grade War and a few extra additions on the end board, maybe a nip in hand. This is definitely not bad, but honestly in comparison to the Rika loner deck, I think that you might be better off with the Rika deck, but this also depends a bit on how many hand traps you have available. For example, if I click over here on Ultra Rare and filter for the ones that I own, you can see that we are actually able to play Fuvalos in here if we want to, or something like Ghost Mourner, something like Ghost Ogre, something like Ghost Spell. And if you have access to all of these hand traps here, especially the Fuvalos, you might want to not go for the loner decks, but go for the decks that you can build yourself in order to put all the important ultra rare staples hand traps in the deck that you have available. Now I will show you another deck core that you can use that have or has been used in a lot of other events. Definitely the weakest one that I will show you, but also a possibility. So the last thing you could use is Crusadia core. We are putting in all of the Crusadia cards in here, basically all of the ones we are needing, also the Crusadia monsters from the extra deck, with the goal to use our Crusadia Equimax. If you don't know the card, it's made with 2 effect monsters, including a Link monster, gains attack equal to the combined original attack of all monsters this card points to, which is the reason why we are playing the Santa Claus. We can distribute an opponent's monster, put this in front of our Equimax, and then we will also gain attack from this forward pointing arrow. But sometimes your opponent will also play into this card, then it's quite nice. And then monsters this card points to cannot attack. Keep this in mind always. And then once per turn quick effect, we contribute 1 Crusadia or World Legacy monster this card points to, then target 1 face card our opponent controls, negates its effect until the end of this turn. This can come up sometime, normally it doesn't. The important thing is that this monster is basically able to OTK your opponent if done correctly. It's definitely not easy. You want to use these here as the core and then supplement the core with the other staples staples that you also have seen in the Salaman Grade deck, cards like the Pot of Desire, Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance, that is, and then hand traps to stop your opponent so that you can go ahead and go second kill your opponent. Definitely a bit tough to achieve this with this deck, way harder than, for example, with the Loner deck or the Salaman Grade deck. So I would say if you want to play Crusadia, which can be fun sometimes, go ahead. But other than that, I think Urika might be the better one, depending once again on the hand traps that you have available for this event, which are mostly ultra rares. So let me know in the comments what you think of this. What are you going to play for the event? Are you going to play budget or full power? I will also make a video with the full power decks for the event. Hope you have a great time in the event. Farm all the resources. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.